lowered the tax bill of the average American taxpayer by enough to cover the costs of running their business. So what they did was they started passing tax deductions immediately, and it's been over a 3 or 4 year period. They passed dozens of tax deductions specifically for home-based business owners for the purpose of encouraging us to get into a business and then to reward us for continuing to run it. And they said we need to do only 2 things. There are 2 requirements in the bill. One is that we need to work our business on a regular and consistent basis, which has been defined as a minimum of 3 to 4 hours a week. So minimum 3 to 4 hours a week, week after week, is the first requirement. The second one's even easier to meet, and that's the intent to make a profit, be able to prove that we're trying to make profit. You don't even have to make a profit before you qualify for these tax breaks. So if you do those 2 things, what happens? Well, almost any taxpayer with a full-time W-2 job and a part-time home-based business can qualify to put an extra $3,000 to $6,000 extra cash in their pocket per year, every year. Where does that come from? It comes from additional tax refunds. But then Congress, in passing these tax breaks, did something else that was wise. And I don't usually use Congress and wise in the same sentence. But in this case, Congress did something that was wise. And what the wise thing they did was they said, we can't make taxpayers wait till April 15th to get their new refund, because it costs money to run the business month after month after month. Think about this. If you go to apply for a new job and you really want the job, they really want to hire you, imagine if the hiring manager says, but hold on just a second, David, we need to make you aware of something, that we don't really pay our employees the same way most companies do. We ask you to work all year long, and then somewhere around next April 15th or so, we pay you. Is that all right? Well, of course it's not all right, because you got to pay your mortgage or your rent payment every month. You can't go to the gas station, fill your tank up, and wave at the attendant and say, see you next April. So you got to have the money as you go along. So what they did was they passed legislation that lets us collect a portion of that new refund every month. Here's how it works. Let's say if your annual additional tax refund is going to be between $3,000 and $6,000 a year, divide that by the number of months in a year, and it works out that the additional tax refund is worth somewhere between $300 and $500 a month. So the legislation said any taxpayer now that has a significant tax-changing circumstance, like learning about tax breaks, which you didn't know about before, can go to your payroll office, and there's a real easy way that I describe in a book, and David already knows about, that you can go to your payroll office and arrange to have less money withheld from your paycheck for taxes. Well, how much? Well, if it's going to turn out that you're paying $300 to $500, let's say $400 a month less, you're going to be paying $400 less in taxes. So you go to your payroll office and say, I've had a change in my tax circumstances. I'm going to be paying about $400 a month less in taxes. So let's change my withholding. They're required to let you do that. And they're required to implement that change as of the very next pay period. So what happens is your take-home pay immediately increases by $300 to $500 a month. It's about $100 a week. So imagine what would it be like if every Monday morning you woke up on your favorite day of the week, Monday morning, right? And you reach over in your nightstand to hit the snooze alarm. What you feel there is a crisp $100 bill with a Post-it note on there, and a Post-it note says, this is for running your home-based business and anything else you want to use it for. It's probably more than you really need. And there's a PS saying that these will keep coming every Monday as long as you keep running your business on a part-time basis with a profit intent. That's what it's like. So you honestly are getting an increase in take-home pay averaging $100 a week. Now, I ask you, can you possibly run a Zango business on $100 a week? Absolutely. I don't know anybody that needs to spend more than $400 a month to run the business. I mean, you can't buy enough ownership. You can't go to enough events in order to spend that kind of money. So that meets the intent of Congress. They want to pay for the cost of running the business. So here's what's pretty cool. If you're, and that's just the tax savings alone, by the way, just the tax savings. That doesn't even include a penny of what you're going to earn in the Zango business itself. So if the $400 or $500 a month is more than enough to pay for the cost of running your business, then that means every dollar that you earn in the Zango business itself is what? It's pure profit. Because the expenses, you only got the money, revenue that comes into any business goes first to pay the business bills. Well, Uncle Sam's paying those. Uncle Sam's paying those for you already. So then when you start getting checks for commissions and bonuses from the company, that's all pure profit because expenses have been taken care of. That's the power of this of these tax deductions. The Congress passed these for the specific purpose of encouraging us to get into home-based business and to continue rewarding us as long as we continue. Because they said every month we want you working 3 to 4 hours a week with a profit intent, month after month after month. Now think about that. If you talk to people about the Zango product line, 3 or 4 hours a week, every week, you're going to accidentally sponsor somebody. You cannot not be successful. It's just a matter of talking to other people. And
hey, Ron.
Yeah, Dave.
Ron, let me interrupt you right here. Like I said earlier, I might want to do in 1 or 2 spots because this is so critical right here for those people that might say every once in a while to us that I can't afford it, or I don't have enough money. I can't afford $100 a month or $200 a month in profit or for product. You know, for those people that say that, you sincerely want to still sponsor them and work with them. You see something there, you want them on your team, either as a customer or a builder or something like that. This is a spot. Right here is a spot where you can change the conversation a little bit and say, well, what if I showed you a way right now, this month, not down the road, this month, where you can get your product for free? What if I showed you that right now, how you can organize yourself to get your product for free right now? Would you be interested in getting, this LV for free, or this juice for free, or these or whatever the product is for free? What an incredible way to do that. And what you're saying right now enables us to do that with people, right?
Exactly. And if you've got somebody who's on the team and they think they need to drop out, they need to cut back some money. They can't afford $100 or $200 a month for ownership. You tell them, if you save $200 a month in ownership, it's going to cost you $400 to do that, because you're going to lose all the tax breaks. You're going to start paying Uncle Sam that $400 a month again. Who would want to lose $400 to save $200? You've got a net loss of $200. Here's another way to look at it when you're talking to somebody about staying in the business. It's a great retention tool, because you tell folks that, okay, you better work 3 to 4 hours a week to qualify, right? And for that, Uncle Sam's going to put about $100 cash in your pocket, and you're going to collect that as part of your payday. For $100 a week to work your business up to 4 hours a week, it's like Uncle Sam paying you $25 an hour to run your own business, and then you get to keep the money you make in the business. That's not a bad deal. You'd have to be brain dead or crazy to drop out of a business when you really understand the power of that. So it's a powerful recruiting tool, powerful retention tool, and in fact, anybody who doesn't have a home-based business, here's what the cost is. It's about $100 a week. If you're on this call tonight and you have a business, obviously, you're in the same business, but if you don't know these tax breaks, or if you know the tax breaks but don't have a business, either one of those, if either piece is missing, you overpaid your taxes about $100 this week, and you're going to do the same thing next week and the week after, until 2 things are in place: a part-time home-based business. So as long as you're working in the single business 3 or 4 hours a week minimum, that's not enough to make you rich. That's not to qualify for the tax break. 3 to 4 hours a week, as long as you're doing that, and you understand the tax breaks and apply them to your tax circumstances, that's going to stop the $100 a week overpayment that you're going through right now. You're overpaying your tax about that much right now. And learning what you need to know to do that is not painful or time-consuming or boring. It's really pretty easy, because of all the tax breaks Congress passed, you really only need to understand 6 of them, the 6 biggest ones. There's 6, the right 6, of course. But if you get a working knowledge of just 6 tax deductions, you can qualify for these tax breaks of $3,000 to $6,000 a year. I'm talking about. This is tax savings now. We're not talking tax deductions. Tax deductions have to be multiplied by your tax rate. We're talking about actual dollars in your pocket. So if you've earned just these 6, let's say you spend 45 minutes a day learning one of these. At the end of 6 days, you can do that easily. You can get it in 45 minutes for each one of these 6. By the end of 6 days, you've got all the knowledge you need to walk into your payroll office on day 7 and start putting $100 extra cash in your pocket. So it's easy to understand and use, because all I did was I did 2 things for you. One is I brought all these tax breaks together. They're scattered throughout the tax code because they were passed over a period of years. So they've never been what they call codified, never been brought together in one place. So that's what I spent a year doing, pulling these things together into one place. And then the next 6 months I spent translating that in English, because it was in IRSEs and legalese and Germanese. Now it's in English. So now it's easy for you to go through it and learn it. Dave, how hard is it to read the book?
It's actually, I hate to say this because I'm not this kind of a person, but it's actually kind of fun. I mean, to go see those breaks that, and most of which I wasn't doing, and now all of a sudden I'm doing it like one of my kids was going to some schooling and needed a little bit of money every month and everything. So I did what you said. I just employed him, and now all of a sudden I just made him part of my employment. Now all of a sudden I can write the money I give to him off. So if any of you are giving your kids money, why don't you call him one of your employees and you can write it off? So things like that it's incredible, Ron.
But let's talk about that one and the other. Let's talk about all top six if we can. Could we spend like maybe 10 minutes kind of running through them real quickly?
You betcha.
The 10 minutes or 15 minutes isn't enough time to teach you what you need to know to use these, but it's enough to give you an idea of how you can go about qualifying for them. And then the teaching part, as I say, with maybe 45 minutes a day for a week or less, and you got it under your belt. One of them is hiring your kids. And there's a lot of cool things about this. One is that if you've got a child that you're paying, say, a $10 a week allowance to, you've got to go to your W-2 job and earn almost $17 in wages to bring home $10 in take-home pay to pay them their allowance. So if you come home on allowance day and they've done $10 worth of work for your business, then the money you pay them is no longer allowance. Now it's wages. So the money you pay them is tax deductible to you, and the money that they earn is tax-free to them, because a minor, most people don't know this, a minor can earn up to $5,800 a year tax-free. So if the money you're paying them is tax deductible to you as wages, the money they're earning you is tax free to them because they're minors earning up to $5,800. That's non-taxed money. It's never taxed. That just doesn't happen very much in this country anymore. They found a way to tax just about everything. But you can pass that money through as tax-free income to your children. And normally child labor laws require kids to be at least 16 to go to work or earn income. But the courts have ruled that the purpose of child labor laws is to ensure the safety of the working environment, safety of the children. The courts have ruled that a child working for their own parents in a home-based business is presumed to be working in a safe environment. Therefore, child labor laws are suspended. And the courts have ruled that children as young as the age of 6 years old can perform what the judge said is viable work in a parent's home-based business. So you get kids at least 6, you can start to employ them in your business. And it's like baseball. You know how many bases you have to touch to get a home run, right? Well, just like baseball, in this chapter of the book, I tell you what bases you've got to touch. There are specific steps the IRS requires you to take. When somebody tells you that what the items are, and you go through and check them all off. Now you've got bulletproof. You've got bulletproof tax deductions that you can't lose in an audit, because when you know what they're going to expect, the steps they're expecting you to take, and you've taken those steps, you're absolutely crystal clear. When you understand the law and you follow the law, you don't need to be afraid of the law. So with hiring your kids is a step-by-step process. And you got to hire them there's some things like you got to hire them with an employment agreement and things like that. But it's a really cool deduction, because here's one of the spin-off benefits of not tax-related, but it's probably even more important than these tax savings. And that is that your children, when they work for you as employees, they will discover, without you saying a word to them, they're going to figure this out, that if they want to earn more money, if any employee wants to earn more money in any job, they've only got 2 ways to do it. One is to work harder. You go to your employer, say, your kids come to you and say, Mom, Dad, I'm making $15 a week, I want to make 20, what can I do? If you agree to raise their income to 20, they got to do more work for it. So first, they have to ask. Secondly, they got to get permission from their employer. And third, they have to work hard. That's one way. The only other way is to perform work that's perceived to be more highly valued by the employer. They will learn that eventually that employees are never paid what they're worth. They're paid what the job is worth. So if you got a child that's checking your emails for you every day, that's worth a certain amount of money. That child gets a little bit older and they start managing your database, that's worth more money. But they still got to get their employer's permission. Meanwhile, they're working for Mom and Dad who have no caps on their earning power. Mom and Dad can make as much money as they want to. Nobody tells them how much money they can make. They don't have to ask anybody's permission. So what's the difference between being an